We've only got a couple weeks to go before Grounded's full release. After 2 years of early access, the backyard will be complete. The story will be there for 1.0 and so many more new features, bugs, bosses and more are going to be added. But what to really expect? I've told you what I would like to see added to the game. I've told you some of the stuff that's been leaked in the past. But what do I really think is going to be actually happening with the launch? And just in case you don't know. So here's some obvious stuff and maybe not so obvious. What's going to happen with Grounded at 1.0. So first of all, your saves for the 50th billionth time are going to be okay. The Grounded devs have striven to make this right. They tested it out a little while ago. That's why we had to go and redo some of the backyards, like getting some of the chips again. That was basically testing out to make sure your saves are going to be okay. Unlike a lot of other early access titles, you're not going to have to worry about your worlds being reset or your progress being started back. Your saves will be there, you'll be able to go carrying on exploring the new parts of the yard. There still may be some little discrepancies where you may have to go and redo certain things, maybe like some of the chips. But I do feel like the devs have probably done that, hence why, like I said, they added that a little while ago. We all had to go and complete the major dungeons, the hedge, the anthill, termite and the sandbox. Or was it the haze and the sandbox, not the termite? This has been confirmed a bunch of times. While maybe 6 months ago the devs were saying that they're doing their best not to make that happen, they've been a little bit more forthright in the last few months, saying that yep, absolutely, it does look like they're really working their best to make sure that doesn't happen. So take it from me, they would have told us by now if anything had gone wrong with the saves, or they had to restart, or they're giving us fair warning that your worlds for the last 2 years would be gone. The only exception to that could be something like really ancient saves. If there's any that you've not uploaded or played for like a year and a half, then come on, in reality, they shouldn't really be safe. But anything that's not marked as ancient, it should be okay and well enough to go ahead and play. That said, I still am going to carry on saying it. I recommend you all restart your game as soon as you can. I'm sure you want to go and take a look at some of the new stuff. But absolutely, to get the best experience with all the story from beginning to end with proper cutscenes or proper dialogue and voice recordings and everything else, you're more advised to start from the very beginning, a fresh new experience. Grounded is going to have a price increase. It's going to go up from $29.99 to $39.99. $40 basically for one of the best survival games out there. That's an absolute bargain for what Grounded offers, in my opinion. I would happily have paid $60 for this, as I truly do believe it matches up to most supposed AAA titles. And no, it's not going to leave Games Pass anytime soon. It is an exclusive game for Microsoft and Obsidian. They need more kid-friendly games other than Minecraft. Grounded is going to be here for a long time. So it's not about to leave the Games Pass service. It's only been around for a couple of years. Give it maybe another 5 or 6 years and they might think about it before the next generation jump. But by then no one would have cared because we would have probably all moved on to something else. Maybe even Grounded 2. Some mechanical stuff that you should expect to see. We're going to get some new perks. I'm pretty sure there is going to be at least 3 more mutations added. It just makes sense. No one is creating a UI like this and then leaving 3 empty spaces. We know we're going to be facing off against new bugs, new bosses. And there's a good chance as well that we're also going to have new mixers, as when the mixers did get added, it was suggested that there would be more added to the upper yard or added in the future. What kind of mixers they are, we don't know yet. Pretty obvious, but there's going to be more scabs. I think there's like over 36 of them at the moment, although not many have been added in the most recent updates comparatively. And I do believe when you use the command, like I've just done, a couple of these might not actually work completely. I'm pretty sure sewage was removed. I can't remember if it's actually ever been added. Since it was, I do believe, inside the actual sewage grate, which got changed. But you get the idea. Some of these I really don't recognise the name, but I am in the process of collecting all of them again. But yes, there's going to be more scabs. It just makes sense with the rest of the yard. There's no way they're going to leave that completely empty without any kind of collectibles. Or they may even potentially move some of the ones that are available. As like I said, once you start getting to the upper yard, there aren't that many at all. In fact, thinking about it, I don't think there's one brand new scab in the entirety of the upper yard. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Again, the only issue with that as well is that a lot of them scabs were reflective of the area that they're in. If you go over to the hedge, a lot of them are kind of purple or green based because it's hedge filled with berries. Likewise, the water's filled with blues and maybe sort of watery colours like that. Of course, we're going to get new additions to the backyard. We know for a fact that they've toyed and messed around with all sorts of different things. Whether or not they'll all be there in their final form, we're not too sure, but clearly this is all being worked on by the tape. We know it seems to be something like maybe lawnmowers, as well as the coffee percolator from the trailer, not to mention whatever the pink castle might be in the upper pond. And of course the upper yard area has already had one change. This got added and it was kind of just there, not really happening, nothing else much. Then it's got expanded with the last update ever for Grounded before 1.0. So we know what the baseline resources are, although you can guarantee a lot of this will still come under some changes. Not to mention this giant foreboding rock. What could it be hiding? Maybe a fallen over massive log. That's what we're expecting again from screenshots they shared where we saw the trunk on its side. And it's really starting to take shape some of these other areas now as well, with brand new plants being added and bushes. So it goes without saying, new biomes, new bugs, new bosses, new layers, and maybe some new resources to collect or gather. So of course all the quests and the quest data will also be there. We'll have brand new stories, brand new cutscenes. All the tapes and cassettes that we found all across the yards will have proper voice acting on them, really fleshing out the story of how, as kids, we got basically shrunk down by this mad scientist. And it goes again without saying we're going to get a whole ton of new weapons and armors. We already know about the Mantis gear and set. We know we're getting some sort of barbarian clothes set. And judging by all the leaks, if any of that stays or remains true from the game files that we found months and months ago, there's a whole nother section of gear coming in. So if you've been bored of playing with the same weapons, the same armor pieces, don't worry, there's going to be a hell of a lot more. So if I'm carrying on my game, am I going to be able to keep upgrading my weapons and armor since there's such short supply of the tier 3 stuff? So yes, again, another obvious one, but I have seen it in the comments from some of my videos. There is going to be more upgrades. It's probably the one misstep that's happened in Grounded in the last few updates, other than a few bugs and problems, which is to be expected with maybe the shared feature. The Grounded devs have obviously got stuff going on with the rest of the yard and how we upgrade our tools and armour, and they don't want us to be too overpowered for 1.0. So they reduced how many of these tier 3 rocks were available, but that did mean that some players have felt a bit aggrieved that maybe they hadn't got to the point where they'd upgraded a lot of their weapons, figuring they had all the time in the world to use their quartzite, and so now they can pretty much only upgrade one weapon to max level and one armor set to max level. Now it is only for a short time. I think by the time the update actually rolled out to everyone, and that between the full release, it ended up being something like maybe 4.5 weeks. It's not exactly the world's longest, but don't panic. As soon as 1.0 is here, there will be ways that you can get it. Again, it's pretty simple, but there will be a recipe for you to go ahead and craft tier 3. But there is still one problem with that. A lot of people are still a little bit unhappy that it's the black ox horns that you need. I've been hearing tales of some of you players killing over 20 and only getting 1 or 2 of them dropping when you're playing in multiplayer. Whether or not that's exaggeration or not, I still feel that there will be some more changes through this. Whether or not it's the actual recipe, or whether or not it's the actual bug parts. Or maybe they're just going to put simply black ox spawns everywhere else around the map towards the upper yard. It makes sense that the hardest items that you can get will be a bit of a chore and a bit of a grind. The new method does reduce the grind somewhat, and it stopped the case of the game focusing on gathering rocks and materials. Now it is really about getting the max upgrades. You will have to kill certain bugs. It's a given, it's an obvious one. You're going to have more than enough ways to do it. You're just going to have to put the grind in. With the new weapons and tools, you might not even want to upgrade any of the stuff that you've currently got, as you might need to save it for all of the new gear. Of course, another really obvious one is more of the milk molar upgrades. We know the devs said they were going to be adding more to the upper yards. When they first introduced these, it just seemed so obvious. You can't max out your character at the moment, and there's no way to reset your stats if you choose any that you don't like. When the devs added the milk molars and the mega milks, they did say that more would be added in the future, so you'd be able to do more with your character upgrading paths. The only thing that could throw a spanner in the works with that is if they decide to actually get rid of that system, but I doubt it very much. At this late stage, they're not going to be adding some brand new XP system. I don't think they're going to transfer all of the milk molar upgrades to more armor pieces or make it more mutations. So expect plenty of fresh guides showing you all the new mega milks. Likewise, there should be some brand new recipes. With the new bugs that are going to be coming, there's got to be some new ways to utilise their bug parts. Especially now we've got the cookery on its own, it means there's definitely going to be more space for more food recipes. I'm expecting another 3 recipes to be added, and that will make them all pretty much equal. In fact, there should be 6 tier 1 recipes, 6 tier 2 recipes and 6 tier 3 recipes, judging by what's kind of missing and the space that's left at the bottom. Of course, I am expecting more achievements to be added to the game as well. At the moment they equal around 1,400, and I would expect there to be at least another 100 achievements points worth added, maybe even round it up to 2,000. Some of the major updates have included new achievements like Into the Wood, so yeah, I am expecting another at least 100 achievement score added, or maybe even more. There's no way they're stopping here with the achievements. There's got to be some for completing the game, and some of these achievements may also change. They may become a little bit harder to do, things like some of the location ones, but you get the idea. More achievements, more trophies will come. And that is pretty much it. I know it might seem obvious, but like I said, we get a lot of questions asked from maybe young audiences or people that are just really busy. There's a huge amount we don't know yet. How the story will unfold, exactly what types of weapons, bosses and other creatures will face, and more important questions about Grounded's future, 1.0 and beyond. We know there is going to be an animated series. That says to me they're not done with the game, but there has not been any actual official 100% confirmation they're going to keep updating. But I don't want to waste any more time today. We'll discuss that nearer the 1.0 release, and hopefully when we get some more clear answers about the future of Grounded. Until next time, Rat Bags, I'll see you later.